Hey everybody, I'm over here in the middle of an astrological chart. Okay. I thought we would have a little bit of fun today and look at some combinations in the horoscope that can go to create an astrologer. Now, this is a very simplified version of a more complex technique that I'm going to be teaching on my Approaching Jaimini course. Yes, you heard it right. Da, 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 da. There's an Approaching Jaimini course, level 1 Jaimini course that starts this August. I'll talk more about that at the end. And the course runs for 44 weeks. If you register between now and the 9th of June, you get a 15% discount off of course enrollment. That 15% discount will work out to being, for full price, $764. Now, I say full price because it is also open to enrollment by trimester. The trimesterly enrollment would be $279 with the 15% discount. And that's if you register by 9th of June. And if you register with that 15% discount before 9th of June, subsequent trimesters stay at the $279 price. If you register after the 9th of June, trimesterly payments go up to $329, and for full course enrollment goes up to $899. So we're going to be working with a technique today that involves finding the Atmakaraka. I know some people don't know much about Jaimini astrology, so I'm going to try to make it as simple as I can. The Atmakaraka, quite simply put, if you're using what's called the 7 Karaka scheme, is the planet with the highest number of degrees in any Rashi, excluding Rahu and Ketu. Okay? So in this particular instance, that planet is Venus. So Venus is the Atmakaraka. That itself tells us a lot about the individual. But in addition to that, the real technique relates to something called the Swamsha, which is basically the Rashi that the planet occupies in the Navamsa. Now, we can look at the Swamsha in any Varga chart, but technically it is the Rashi that the planet occupies in the Navamsa chart, in terms of the technical name of it. But it can be applied, like I said, to any particular Varga chart. So just as Venus can show the vocation or inner calling of the individual, so too can the Lord of the Rashi that Venus is placed in. Now, in this particular instance, that's pretty simple because that's Venus, okay? So it's very definitely a Venusian type career. Now, within Jaimini Sutras, there are a lot of different sutras that go into defining the career or what the individual might do. And in this particular instance, this astrologer, who was a prominent occultist born in 1875, I'll divulge who it was after we go into looking at things. This person has Venus as their Atmakaraka. Okay, so here's what Jaimini has to say about Venus when Venus is in a position that is relevant to basically a specific position from the Swamsha, which again is the Rashi occupied by the Atmakaraka in the Navamsa chart, but you look at it in the Rashi chart too for this technique. Okay, so if Venus is either in the 2nd, 3rd, or 5th from the Swamsha, then it can make someone a poet, eloquent and wise as a sage, knowing prophecy. So prophecy is a profession that's associated with Venus. Venus also can make someone a king's servant, amorous, and having 100 senses. So having 100 senses, besides being sensual, is also being very sensory aware. And you need that in order to do astrology well. You need to be able to tune into your environment, okay? So quite simply, we're looking at Venus here. There's nothing here in the Rashi with Venus, okay? So now we're going to go look at the Rashi chart, where we see Venus here with the Sun and with Ketu. Okay, it's a debilitated sun, but it's still here with the sun and Ketu. Here is what Jaimini has to say when the sun, I didn't put it down here, but I'll explain it to you. When the sun is joined with Venus, one of the things that Jaimini says that is a chief in state affairs. Now, obviously, this is a debilitated sun, so it's not like this particular person would be somebody who is a government official, but this particular person did advise people in government. Okay, and that fits in with Venus's other thing here too, which is a king's servant. So basically, this person was that. Now, there is a particular technique that involves looking either in the Swamsha or at the second, third, and fifth from the Swamsha. But if the Swamsha is in an odd Rashi, then you count normally, like the second would be here, third would be here, and the fifth would be here. Odd Rashis are Aries, Gemini, Leo, Libra, Sagittarius, and Aquarius. If it's in an even Rashi, you count backwards. So even Rashis are Taurus, Cancer, Virgo, Scorpio, Capricorn, and Pisces. Okay, so since this is an odd Rashi, we count forward. Okay, so right there in the Swamsha with Venus is Ketu. And what Jaimini says about Ketu in that position is knowledge of mathematics and astronomical calculations, which is what will make a person an astrologer. If Jupiter is there, it's also someone who is all-knowing and one who understands. Okay? So we're seeing already a lot of things that are tying into this person working with prophecy. All right. So when we go and we look at the Navamsa, let's see if we've got it there. We may not necessarily have it there, but it's good to look. So when we look at this chart, Venus is in an even sign. So rather than the second being here, we need to go in this direction. Okay, so nothing there with Venus, nothing in the second, and nothing in the third, and nothing in the fifth that points in that direction. But what you do have is you have Jupiter Rashi aspecting the third. And that's something that will work too. I didn't go into specifics with that because I just didn't want to make it too complicated. But Jupiter from Virgo will also go towards being similar to one who is all-knowing and one who understands. So then there are some sutras that Jaimini gives in relation to how accomplished somebody is at their vocation. And basically it amounts to finding the 10th from the Swamsha. And if Mercury is in there or Mercury is Rashi aspecting, then it's like Saturn, so says Jaimini. And what Jaimini says about Saturn in relation to things like that is Saturn gives a life of accomplished deeds. So Saturn in Rashi aspect or joining can give accomplishment, dependent upon its dignity. It can also create hardship too, all right? And a benefic in aspect or there, then the person sticks with what they do and they become resolute and important at it. Okay, so let's see if we can find any of these combinations. And the stronger the combinations, the better. So here we have Venus. And we have to find the 10th from Venus. Now the 10th wouldn't be here because we're looking at an even Rashi, which is Taurus. Instead, the 10th would be here in Leo. So we don't have anything in Leo, but we do have the moon Rashi aspecting. Okay, so let's see, is that a waxing moon or a waning moon though? That is a waxing moon, and that's important because a waxing moon is what you want to have in this particular situation. Otherwise, a waning moon is considered a krura or malefic planet. So the 10th from Venus is Leo, where you have a waxing moon that is Rashi aspecting, and nothing else. But that is a benefic that can make the person resolute or important at what they do. Okay, and let me move my head out of the way for a moment so I can click on the center here. And that moon is in a friend sign. Okay, So we'll put my head over here for the moment. Here, we'll put me down here. Okay, I'm down at the bottom of the screen for you. Okay. So when we go and we look at that in the Rashi chart, here is Venus, and we want to find the 10th from Venus. It's an odd Rashi, so the 10th is back here in Cancer. Here you have Saturn Rashi aspecting, which can make the person accomplished at what they do. You have Mercury Rashi aspecting, which can equally make the person accomplished at what they do. Saturn's Mula Trikona, Mercury is in a friend sign, Jupiter's in a great friend sign, and Jupiter's a benefic, and it's also Rashi aspecting. So this can make this person a pretty prominent person who works with prophecy, maybe working with astrology. And this person is Aleister Crowley. Okay, so let's look at another astrologer's chart, and let's see if we can see some similar things here. So let's go to our north-south screen, because I know there are some people who prefer that. So the planet with the highest number of degrees in any Rashi is the Atmakaraka in the Rashi chart. You have to look in the Rashi chart. So that's the sun in this instance. So basically, what is said about the sun is the Atmakaraka is it creates a chief in government affairs. And this particular astrologer also worked as a government economist. Okay, so they did actually work for the government. But if you remember what is actually said, we're starting at the Rashi chart now, but we'll go into the Navamsa here in a moment. What is said about the Atmakaraka is that if you also have Venus there with it, then the person can be a king's servant, which this person was, amorous and having 100 senses. So this person did have heightened senses, but also it can mean somebody who works with sensuality, any sensual-oriented careers, okay? But also somebody who can be a poet, eloquent, and wise as a sage, knowing prophecy. So this person was also that. Okay, and if you remember when we have Ketu either joining or in the second, third, or fifth, and to a weaker degree Rashi aspecting, then it gives knowledge of mathematics and astronomical calculations. And so this person was also an astrologer. Let's look at the 10th from Aquarius and see what we can see. 12th, 11th, 10th. You've got Saturn in a great enemy sign, but that still does count as, you know, making the person somewhat accomplished, but it was likely a struggle for them to a certain degree. Okay, let's see what's Rashi aspecting. Nothing. All right, now let's go look at the Navamsa. In the Navamsa chart, you've got the sun in Pisces. So that gives the tone of Jupiter, which remember Jaimini says about Jupiter, all-knowing and one who understands. So that also goes in towards creating an astrologer. Now, as this is Pisces, we're looking for the second, third, or fifth. And because it's Pisces, we count backwards. So the second would be here, that would be the third, and that would be the fifth. So in the second from the sun, we've got Ketu, knowledge of mathematics and astronomical calculations. Okay, you'll see Ketu a lot in that position in charts of astrologers, or Jupiter in those particular positions. So now we want to take a look at the 10th from Pisces, which is in Gemini. Now, Jaimini also says about the sun that the sun can be a very strong planet towards making the person successful. Again, I didn't put it over here, but it is mentioned in Jaimini Sutras, and I will cover that on the course. But the sun also, Rashi aspects the 10th from itself, because we have to count the 10th this way. And so the sun is Rashi aspecting. So this also contributes towards making the person accomplished at their work. And this is the horoscope of Bevan Bihari, who was a prominent Vedic astrologer. Okay, so I just wanted to kind of go through things briefly, and I thought it might be fun to do it through the charts of astrologers. This is one of the many techniques that we're going to learn on my upcoming Jaimini course. What we're going to do is we're going to go through Jaimini's sutras, which basically we're going to go from chapter 1, the first 4 sections of chapter 1, in terms of what we're going to cover on this course. And we're also going to learn in the first part of the course a couple of the dashas. What I don't complete in terms of the course syllabus is going to move over to a level 2 course, which will start next year. Eventually, either on the level 2 course or on a level 3 course, we'll introduce all the rest of the Jaimini dashas, which there are numerous that are to be used for different purposes. By the time you follow this course through from level 1 to level 3, you should be very adept at using Jaimini astrology. Probably by the time you finish the first level, you're going to see how simple of an astrological system this is in terms of being able to do interpretation. One of the things that's really wonderful about Jaimini astrology too is it contains a lot of snapshot techniques that actually do work to a high level of accuracy. Rather than finding yourself in a position where you're having to really go deeper with the planets. With a lot of the Jaimini planets, they're techniques that you can just basically use the dignity of the planet in order to determine whether it's going to produce those things. Some extra added things do come along, but we'll learn some techniques for how to determine if a person's going to get married or not. Let's move my head up there. What the nature of the spouse is like. We'll learn techniques for career, number of children. There's a technique we'll learn on this course for how many children an individual can have, and so many more on this course. Again, it runs 44 weeks, subsequent Saturdays at 4:30 p.m. London time. And again, if you register early, you can take advantage of that discount, but you have to register before the 9th of June. There will be a link in this video somewhere up above if you want to register for that course. Okay, that's going to do it. I'll talk to everybody next time. Bye now.